Hi everyone, this is Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing some awesome slimline stenciled floral cards featuring a brand new Pinkfresh Studio October release products. They are releasing all of these awesome new slimline products. There is stamp sets, coordinating stencils, so you can see that no coloring needed. We're just gonna stencil in some flowers. I am all about that. Brand new dies, stencils, all of the things that you need to create some gorgeous cards. I'm gonna be using the brand new You Are My Favorite stamp set today. So this is a gorgeous slimline set. Comes with this beautiful floral, lots of fun sentiments, so you can really mix and match and use whatever you want for that. Plus, you don't have to use the sentiment from this stamp set if you don't want to. Go ahead and grab one from your favorite Pinkfresh Studio sentiment set if you want. If something else works better, I am going to be using two of the sentiments from this set on my cards today to make it easy. So we're kind of just keeping it all in the family. We're going to use this same stamp set for everything and the coordinating stencils. Now I decided to do a couple cards at once, so we're going to go ahead and ink up our backgrounds with a black background ink on this Nina Smooth White cardstock. Beautiful floral design. I mean, it's gorgeous as is. You could even use it without any stenciling, and I think it would be really fun. Or you can use your markers, colored pencils, any of the things. I always love when I can go ahead and create multiple cards at one time. If you keep everything prepped in a MISTI, then all you have to do is simply stamp several backgrounds, grab your stencils, and stencil away. And this is a really good assembly line style project. You can even consider, if you want to trim that down, you can trim down this design very, very easily and use it on an A2 sized card. Here is my first background. I am inking it with kind of just a different combination of inks. I will show a little more in depth with the stenciling. I know some of it got cut off with this first color combination, but I did want to leave it in here just to kind of show you guys this first color combination, but I'll show you all the steps here in a bit. So that's the first stencil, and I used multiple colors of ink. So that's the flowers. We're using Peach Fuzz for the orange, Coral Reef for the red, and Lemon Whip for yellow. So that's our base color. We're going to go ahead and take the next layer of our stencil set. We're going to line it up and we're going to add our second layer. So over red, we're going to use Candy Apple. All of the inks, again, today are from Pinkfresh Studio. I know I've mentioned this in quite a few videos, but I absolutely love their inks. A wide array of ink colors. Absolutely awesome. They stamp beautifully. They ink beautifully. Just really highly recommend them. My orange color is Persimmon, and we're going to just layer that over the Peach Fuzz. And then finally a little Sweet Mustard over the Lemon Whip. And when I remove the stencil, it's going to reveal this really beautiful floral design, and then we simply have our leaves left. So the stencil set has 3 stencils in it. It has the first layer of the flowers, the second layer of the flowers, and the leaves. If you want to even take the leaves up maybe a little bit, you could always ink them in a couple of different colors of ink just through that single stencil, or you could take some markers after you have inked them and add some additional shading if you want to. I'm not going to today. I'm keeping it super simple. Next, we are going to just simply take our olive Pinkfresh Studio ink and ink up all of these leaves. The stencils are fantastic. I just think this is such a cool idea of having these stamp sets and then coordinating stencils to add color. You can use any of your favorite inks with these, you guys. I think that is really cute, really clever, and of course for all you floral lovers out there, just a fantastic release with some very innovative products. Okay, when I remove the stencil here, look at that beautiful background. So pretty. Do keep in mind, these are dye inks. They are going to kind of absorb into the cardstock, fade a little bit, so they won't be quite as vibrant. They're still going to be very, very colorful, but the color tends to kind of even and smooth out, which is what I really like. Now, another idea for the stencils, if you don't want to tape them down, use a little pixie spray on the back. So this is what I did for the next set. We're going to ink up the base color of our flowers with ballet slippers. First, that's going to be the really pretty light pink color we're going to use. This next card is kind of pink, a little kind of red, but not super over the top red, and purple. So just tried out a couple of different color combinations with the exact same card style. And we're going around just adding in that color. Ballet Slipper is a very, very pretty light pink ink. Once we have that, let's go ahead and ink up our red flowers with passion fruit. And you can always tap off that excess on scrap paper, or I'm just using the side of my paper here that's going to get die cut off. If you think the color is going to be a little too intense, you'll see me do that a couple times, especially when I ink up the backgrounds here in a minute. And that was the backgrounds, just kind of a fun little note. I made my own stencil from a new, or I don't think it's new, I think it's already been out, but a Pinkfresh Studio slimline die. And I just made my own stencil because I wanted to add something to the background, and this was a great way to do it. We'll get to that in a minute. A little candy violet is our next base color for our flowers. This is the nice light purple. And I'm already really loving this color combination. I don't gravitate towards purple very often. And so this was a fun little kind of diversion from my norm, but I love it with this, and I really think it worked beautifully. Now, after we have all of the flowers here for the base, we want to go ahead and grab our layering flower. And I'm just cleaning a little bit of the stencil. I noticed I missed a flower, but I didn't want to pull the red or purple into that. So I cleaned the stencil with a microfiber cloth before adding the pink. So let's grab our layering now and layer on the next part of this. And I again put some of the pixie spray on the back to help hold the stencil in place. Got it all lined up. Let's take some candy apple for over the red. So that's the same as what we used on the last card. Just used a different base color for these, passion fruit as opposed to coral reef. It does not matter. You can really use whatever you want here. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our next color. Super pretty Regal Kiss. I love this deep, dark, rich purple. And I keep peeking because I want to see how it looks. I'm so excited. Then a little Raspberry Bliss is the color over the pink. And this is a gorgeous, nice, deep, bright-ish pink that is so, so pretty. We're just going to add all that color. And then we're going to take our third and final stencil and stencil on our leaves with the olive color again. So really just repeating our favorite, or repeating each step of the stencil rather, to get the result. This is really quick and easy. If you would do multiple cards in the same colors, I don't even think you'd really need to clean your stencil. Let's say you're doing all of the flowers in the background in the same color. So easy to just go in with, like, let's say light blue, and then you take the layering piece and you do a dark blue, and then you take the leaves and do a green. You're done. That could be so easy. I, of course, did multiple colors to just show possibilities, I guess, but really, really cool. Now, once we have this, we're going to take the coordinating die. There is a nice big die that die cuts this shape out beautifully, and we are going to die cut this. Now, the thing about it is, because I stamped this on white, there's a lot of white background on this. So if you take this to a slimline card base, there's a lot of white on the card base too. And I wanted to find a way to dress this up. Plus, I want to find a unique way to add a sentiment where I'm not covering up all of my beautiful stenciling and the flowers. So we're going to use the You Are My Favorite stamp set again. This is the stamp set that the flower comes from. And we're going to stamp Just a Reminder I Love You and Love You My Friend. We're going to stamp those on vellum with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with antique gold embossing powder. And then we're going to do something really fun where we're going to create some little vellum frames. So the vellum is going to allow us to see through this to the background, which is going to be the flower, one of my very favorite techniques. And I'm using gold because I think I'm going to use a gold frame. We are using this really great basic label frames die set from Pinkfresh Studio, and we're simply just going to take 2 frames that are close in size and die cut them together to create a frame. So first we want to die cut the shape from the largest of the 2 dies we're going to use for the frame, so we have a piece to layer behind, and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to take like these rounded little rectangle type shapes, and we're going to die cut our sentiments. We're going to line that up, run it through our die cutting machine, and do that for the second sentiment as well. Then we're going to take the gold mirror cardstock and 2 frames that are close in size together and run those through together to die cut a little thin frame. So see how I am adding these 2 frames, taping them together. I'm just going to run those over to my die cutting machine, run that through, and this instantly creates a frame that fits right over our vellum sentiment. This is going to hide adhesive, plus it draws your eye into the greeting. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. We're going to go ahead and adhere these directly to our die cut flower borders while we work on inking our backgrounds. So I have a couple of card bases I trimmed from, they are measure 7 by 8.5 inches. So when scored in half, 3.5 by 8.5 inches. And I've got my frame. I'm going to run a thin little line of glue all the way around. And then place the vellum behind it and put an acrylic block on top to help hold that down. We're going to do that for both of the sentiments. Then we're going to run another little thin line of glue right back behind where the frame is, so it hides it, and place it over our flower border. And I'm going to put an acrylic block on top to help hold it flat on the flower border. And we'll do that for the second one as well. Then we are going to die cut a piece of kind of heavyweight smooth white cardstock using the brand new not brand new, I'm so sorry, I keep saying that. It's been out for a while. We're going to use the Slim Diagonal Stripes die, and I am going to die cut a stencil. I'm going to make my own stencil basically. This is that fits a slimline design, so I'm not having to piece together a standard stencil to fit my card front. And this is to add that interest that makes your eye drawn in to our stenciled flower. I'm going to ink up this first one with Ballet Slippers and Raspberry Bliss. I think it really ends up being more Raspberry Bliss. I liked that a lot better. I'm just holding this down in place. I think you could try some pixie spray if you wanted to. I have not tried it with paper, and I was a little afraid it might stick. I don't know if it would or not, so I just held it down because I wasn't super concerned with my stenciling being real precise. I mean, I think it ended up very precise, but it didn't have to be so precise that there could be little areas that are fainter or darker or whatever. I like that. It's just the background. It's just a little bit of color that adds some great interest to our card. Then when we pop our floral on, and I use some foam adhesive for that, so it has a little of dimension, it looks absolutely amazing. I love how that turned out. A nice diagonal background is almost always the answer. I love a good diagonal background, whether it's stamped or stenciled. So let's grab our second card base here. Again, I'm just going to score that, fold it in half, and this time we're going to ink up with a little coral reef ink. And I have another border here. I actually thought I have 2 die cuts because I was going to use them in a different way and for another project, and I actually didn't. And since I had them, I thought, let's try them out as a stencil, and that worked so awesome. So definitely a great idea. Plus, now I have 2 inked panels. I'm not going to throw these away. These would make great card backgrounds. I could totally use the inked up die cut now if I wanted to for a card. Once we have this inked up, we're going to put foam adhesive on the back of our other flower border and pop that up right on this background as well. The only thing we have left to do is to add a little bit of detail. So I've got some little clay hearts. I'm going to add 1 of each of those to the little sentiment. And then we're going to take a scattering of pretty pink posh gems or jewels, and we're going to scatter those throughout for a little touch of sparkle. And I picked a couple of different colors. So one is going to be kind of a pink and a white, and one's going to be more of a red and a white. I'm using an embellishment wand to easily pick those up and pop them in place. I love that little touch of sparkle. It dresses up what is a very simple card very easily. And again, this is a project that would be fantastic assembly line style. You could create many, many cards all at once by doing all your stamping, doing each step of stenciling, adding some backgrounds for your card fronts, popping them in place, and finishing with some gemstones, sequins, whatever you want, or not. You wouldn't have to if you didn't want to. So very, very fun. I'm really loving this new release, and I hope you guys are too. Now, a question I get a lot about slimline cards is if they fit in a standard business envelope, and yes, they do. So no additional postage as long as they're not super thick or anything like that. You just put them in a standard envelope, or Simon Says Stamp does offer some awesome slimline envelopes if you're interested, and they're very easy to mail. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these 2 slimline floral cards stenciled with brand new products from Pinkfresh Studio. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Pinkfresh Studio products that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.